Hello and welcome to Let Me Be Your Game Guide, a podcast that spends each episode delving into a mystical new video game, exploring its charms and challenges, and helping you decide if it should be next on your list. I'm your host, Emma.
This is Rylan.
And this is Shawn.
Join us for this week's discussion episode as we escape reality and enter the metaphysical. For the remainder of this episode, let me be your game guide. Do you need to sneeze?
I'm good. I'm okay. All right.
We're all very snotty today.
Yeah, sorry everybody.
Yeah, allergy season, cold season.
Yeah.
I thought you just dropped your
Nope,
fidget, but you caught it.
I got it.
Nice.
Oh, man.
I'm ready.
Well, good, because this is a part 2 episode for this bed we made.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our last week's episode went through our critical rating of the game, but didn't give a lot of spoilers. And so we're back this week to actually discuss the details of the game, our actual thoughts about it. So if you don't want the game spoiled for you, I would maybe wait until you've played to listen to this episode. You're down. You did drop your
I
fidget.
did drop it that time.
Did it break as well?
No, that's the same one.
Got it.
I learned
Okay.
from my mistakes.
Yeah, we I reorganized our pod space. We used to have a big couch in here, and I took it out, and the amount of fidgets that I pulled from behind the couch was insane. Yeah, we'll probably go back.
It's great because I have a little pile here
Yeah, you
next to me.
do.
So if I
do.
if I accidentally fling one or drop one or break one, I can just grab another one.
Yeah.
So
You're good.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm set.
And I also forgot that I had those like gross animals, those like squishy animals that I bought.
yeah.
They were really fun until you played with them for more than a couple seconds, and then they got like really sticky.
There weren't any of
Yeah.
those behind the couch, were
No,
there? Okay.
no.
That would be
They were
so
awful.
gross.
They
Yeah.
were just in one of the like baskets I had on my desk, and I opened.
Yeah.
I was like, "What's in here?" And I opened it, and I was like, "Ugh,
Oh, yeah.
Did you throw them away?
no,
Why?
I don't know. I just didn't."
Somebody might like those.
Yeah, maybe
Never know.
I need to throw them away. They're gross. But anyways, let's dive in. Let's talk about this bed we made. I don't think that we need to be super linear about how we talk about this. I mean, we can kind of like start at the beginning of the game
Yeah,
and move through
sure.
it, but I can see us diverting quite a bit.
Totally.
Yeah.
At multiple points. So the game does start, and this was my first confusion.
Do you want to plug our podcast stuff before you get too far?
That would be a good idea. Great idea.
I just don't want you to get
Shawn.
too far and then we have to do it. So
No, I appreciate it. Okay. Real quick, before we begin the episode, don't forget to give the podcast a follow, rate it, review it, however you want to show us love. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/letmebeyourgg, where you can view episodes early as they post sometime on Sunday, a couple of days before the episode posts everywhere else. You can find us on most socials as Let Me Be Your GG with no spaces. That's LetMeBeyourGG with no spaces. And we're on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You can find our TikTok at Let Me Be Your Game Guide with no spaces. And you can also email us at letmebeyourgg@gmail.com. This is the best way to send in game requests. Just make sure to include game requests in the subject line so it's easy for us to find. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, and if you want to submit now, because end of the year most likely is when your game will be played, or 2026. So
I think we're on 2026 right now, aren't we?
Are we?
I don't know. We might have one more spot left in this year.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
submit your stuff now or 2026.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool.
And now what you've all been rating for.
Yeah, so like I was saying, I can't. The game opens up and it's in black and white. And I was like, cool, it's in black and white.
Noir.
Yeah.
And you're being led down the hallway of a police department, and
Yeah.
you're led into a interrogation room, and you start telling the story of that night, and that's what kicks you into the game. The game is switched into color, and I was just like, why?
Why what?
Why did we go black and white to color? I guess it's to depict the present and the past, but it felt weird to me.
Well, it's also like 50s vibes. Like this is like very early.
It's just like the Wizard of Oz, you know?
Oh, God. The Wizard of Oz.
You don't like the Wizard of Oz?
No.
That's all you need to know, folks.
Yeah.
No, I'm being nitpicky, but it was one of those things where I was like, wait, why did I don't understand why it was black and white, but that's fine. That I should probably not complain at every point in this game, but I didn't like it. Did you guys stand like on your way to your interrogation room? Did you stand at each door and wait to listen to everyone?
I didn't
No.
listen to everyone, but I definitely listened to some. Yeah.
Yeah, so you could stop and just listen to the interrogation that was happening in the doors that you passed.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't really get that much information, but I was like, they mentioned your name at one point, I think, and I was like, bitch.
Yeah. Well, the cop's like, just move along. And you're just standing there by the door, just waiting. He's like, okay, just keep going. And you're
Well-
just standing there. Like, it's a little awkward, but
Yeah,
I
I
was
was-
here for the tea. So,
Yeah.
I was a little bit confused because he's like, all right, your interview room's right through here. And then I didn't know which door to go to. I just kept going to this
Well,
door. Nope. Okay, this door.
yeah.
Nope. Okay, this door. Nope. Fourth
it's
door.
like
yeah.
right through here. Yeah. And then 7 doors later on the left. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just thought I did like there was a lot of like behind the door conversations in this game that you could sit and listen to.
Yeah.
At this beginning, I thought like it really kind of put me in the mood. Like, whoa, like what happened? Like this is serious. Whatever went down
Yeah.
is serious. Like I'm assuming somebody dies or something.
Yeah. Something
Yeah.
big for sure.
Yeah. And then you're kicked back to like the beginning of that day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you're just cleaning. What are you in? 504?
504? I
Yeah.
think.
504, I
Room
think. Yeah.
504. And this was nicely done because I forgot about this room.
Mm.
I did forget about it a little bit, but yeah, you kind of learn this is tutorial room
Basically.
Yeah.
where you're cleaning and kind of learning the mechanics of the game, even like picking up some things and like investigating them a little bit, being Snoopy in this room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so does someone want to talk about what we learn in this room?
If
Well-
I could remember what we did in this room, that would be good.
This is the room. I mean, basically all the things that you snoop. It's like this guy owes a lot of people a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. This is
Yeah.
the guy. Yeah. Like a few different like companies
Yeah.
or organizations. He owes a lot of money
yeah,
to.
he's like borrowed money from friends, and he's like, you know, taking out loans that he's not doing well on. There's like
Yeah.
collections agencies from a third company like trying to get hold of him.
Yeah. What was his name? Samuel? No.
Todd.
How's
my.
Will? I thought, Trevor.
Travis.
Trevor.
I don't know.
I thought it was a Will.
I
or
think
a
it is.
Paul.
I think
No,
it is a
Paul.
Samuel.
Paul is someone else. There is a
Paul's later.
Paul.
Yeah.
We'll learn about Paul here shortly.
Will. Sam.
Yeah.
I think it is Sam, but this guy, he's in debt.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah.
Shout out big time.
Yeah, shout out to Big Time. I love calling him Big Time now.
Me too.
It's the best. Yeah.
No one knows what we're talking about.
That's fine.
That's all right.
Yep.
if
Just
you know,
if,
you know.
if you have a friend who shows some big energy, call him Big Time.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
what they deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you kind of get through that room and then you get called down. You get called downstairs.
Yep.
Who calls you downstairs?
For me, it was Beth. Beth called me down and said, "Hey, I need you to come down here. I got something going on." And so I traveled
yeah.
downstairs and I tried to go one way, but I think it was Jacques didn't move all the luggage out of the hallway. Freaking jerk.
Jacques is
So-
loose with his luggage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everywhere. He's got it all over the place.
Yeah.
So I had to go the other way. And then I went and talked to Beth. And she describes how a patron had knocked over a vase full of flowers and
Yeah.
such. And it looked like a very chaotic situation for a moment. But then everything had passed. But she needed you to clean up the vase and get it all situated. So that way it was ready for the hotel again.
Yeah. Yep. That's how it happened for me as well.
Yeah. I cleaned up the flowers and the water, and
What do you find in that vase?
there's like
Don't you find
two
something?
things. There's like a paper that you throw away because there wasn't anything on it. It was waterlogged. And then there was something else that I don't remember.
Yeah, it's gosh, what was
I need to
that?
look at my notes.
You take it back to room 505 because it belonged. You figure out that it was the gentleman that was staying in.
Oh, it's the film canister.
Ah,
Right.
yes.
Yeah. It's the film canister.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, you take that back to 505 because you do some investigative work at the front office.
Yeah, Beth helps you find that person's name or something.
Yeah. You find it in the what is it, the ledger?
Yep.
And then you head back up to 505 to go drop it off.
Yeah.
Try to be a good citizen.
Yeah, I did some additional mopping while I was down there too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh.
You clean up like there's a
spill.
spill or something, or there's like a leak in the roof. I think.
Oh yeah, you clean that up.
And
yeah.
I think Andrew is like, "Oh, what's the
Eugene.
Eugene said that we shouldn't be touching those things."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Well, screw you."
While
Andrew."
I'm thinking about this, where there's this puddle, there was also a puddle at the end of the game that I couldn't get past until I cleaned it up.
Really? Where?
Oh, was it in the office?
Like on the way to Bernard's office at the end of the game, Bernard, like the hotel manager,
Uh-huh.
there's a puddle on the floor. This is like after
Oh,
this is like after everything goes down. And I've
Wait, really?
and you're like, I gotta take 5 minutes to clean this up real quick because you can't get past it.
yeah, this is like jumping this
Holy
is jumping this
moly.
is jumping so far forward that this is after the police talk to you.
Oh no!
When you go back to talk to Bernard at the very end, there was a puddle. And I, for some reason, I
Crazy.
couldn't get past, so I found the mop and cleaned it up. And I'm like, I don't even know if I'm on shift right now. I was a very good maid.
Nice work, going above and beyond. Really?
Oh, and I was incorrect about the name of the guy in 504. It's Mr. T. Wellington.
Oh, that T. Wellington,
Mr. Beef.
Mr. Beef? What?
Yeah,
Beef
Oh.
Wellington.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where Samuel came from, but my bad.
I was just throwing names out, so
Yeah.
I thought it was something.
Yeah, sorry. I just thought I'd correct us before we got too far.
Sure.
Mr. Wellington is what I'm
Mr.
going to call him.
Wellington.
But yeah, so you find that film canister, and then you do hear a conversation behind the closed door of Bernard, the hotel owner,
Mhm.
that you can kind of sit and listen to. I think he's talking to, is it Linda?
I think
I believe
so,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Linda is the
Like the manager of the staff.
the head lady. I
Yeah.
can't remember what her official title is.
I
But
wrote it down, but I didn't bring my notes. You know.
yeah, they have like a weird affair thing going on. I don't know. So
Yeah,
you
they-
hear them talking about, and Linda hates one of the
Yeah.
other workers there.
She
This
hates-
is some like hot goss.
Yeah, she hates Wendy, who's like one of the waitresses,
Yeah.
who I guess is like really friendly and gets tips and maybe is flirtatious.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah. It doesn't sound like she's doing
Seems
more
like-
than that. It sounds
Yeah.
like she's just
Gotta get
is a
that
flirt.
money.
Got a flirtatious personality.
Yeah.
Like that's okay, but
Yeah.
yeah, sounds like other people are not a fan of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you seem to also, there is like a weird cut scene, and maybe this cut scene happens before you go down to clean. But you're in the break room and you're like reading your magazine, and there are other people in there, and they're like mean to you. Talking
Yeah.
about how
Oh
weird you are.
yeah, they talk how weird
like-
about how weird you are and stuff.
Susan is one of
Yeah.
them, and
Rebecca.
Rebecca, is that
Yeah.
them?
No, I don't know.
Yvette.
Ugh,
I think
yeah.
Yvette's the newbie. I
They're
don't know.
rude.
There's a lot more named characters of the staff than you actually like interact with.
Yeah.
So it's a little tough to keep straight.
Yeah. But you're just trying to trying to read your gossip magazines.
Yeah.
And they're like
Yeah.
giving you gruff. Like, get off me.
Rude.
Just trying to read.
Rude.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call you like weird girl and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is high school.
And they're
Yeah.
only like 5 feet away from you. Like they're
Yeah.
not that far away, like being jerks.
Yeah. Oh, Rebecca's the laundry lady. She's not mean. It's Susan, Yvette, and Nicole.
Okay.
Oh.
And Carol, apparently.
Nicole got off the hook this time because we didn't forget about her. We
Yeah.
forgot about her.
Carol's the newbie.
We were talking about just going into 505. We're returning the film canister.
Oh, yeah.
We got the film. We go to 505. We knock on the door. Nobody's there. So we decide that we're going to put the film in the room.
The door's ajar, I think, too.
Yeah,
Oh, you're
it's,
right.
like,
Yeah,
open.
yeah. It's a jar. And we knock. Yeah, no one's there. So we walk in and we find, at least in the bathroom, that
Ring,
the person
ring,
in here. Oh,
I was just making sound effects. Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
I thought you said wait. I was
No,
like,
no.
oh, what are we waiting for? Oh, okay. So we find out that the person 505 has been possibly stalking you a little.
Yeah.
Taking some photos. They've turned their bathroom into a dark room, and have developed some film, and you see some of that film hanging up, and it is involving you. And guess what? It's you snooping through stuff. So
Yeah.
they got receipts on that.
yeah, they do.
Okay,
So.
what did you guys do when you found these? Because this is the first time we're introduced to the mechanic where you can like, I mean, you could do it in 504, but here's when you're like, you can throw stuff away if you want. Did you throw the pictures away?
Yeah, I threw them away.
I did not.
I didn't either.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so happy that you did though, Shawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tossed those.
Well,
hey, that was me, so I'm tossing them.
Here's the deal. I didn't throw anything away. Nothing was thrown away until the very end of the game. And then I was like running back to rooms and I was like, throw away this, throw away this, throw away this. And I was like, so I didn't really throw anything away until the very end when I decided like what I wanted to do.
So
Interesting.
I took a different stance with my maiding work. So when I was a maid, if people were like, you know, sometimes you're like sleeping or like you have some stuff that you like throw on the table and it looked like personal stuff, I didn't throw that away.
Oh, well, I guess I threw away the
Yeah.
trash. I threw
Oh,
away the
sure,
trash
sure.
and stuff, but like papers and like,
Oh, I left all that out.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that looks personal. I'm not going to touch that.
Yeah, until the
So-
very end where I was like, it's incriminating. And then I was like running back to rooms.
Oh,
and
I
was-
still
Oh,
I left it
interesting.
all out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Same.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
I cleaned up. I did all the
Okay.
cleaning and stuff. I didn't throw away all those things.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what I did too. I was very diligent. I was a diligent snoop
Yes.
because I felt like that's what I was supposed to do for the game. But I also did all my maid work and I did not remove anything that was theirs. Like for me, I didn't want to leave any trace that like anything was different,
Yeah.
which is why like some of the things you do really frustrated me because you like pick things up and move them and then you can't put them back.
Yeah.
Oh, like what?
There's all those different notes. This one, it wasn't as big of a deal. There's a bunch of notes that are in different trash cans that were ripped up,
Oh,
and you put them together on the table, and then you leave it on the table for so long.
I threw it away.
I threw it away, but
too.
you have to wait so long before you're able to.
Yeah.
There may not have been any other examples actually, but I was just really paranoid about that. So I was not trying to do things like there's keys that you can pick up, and I was always trying to put them back. And
Oh,
there's,
yeah.
Yeah.
there's one that you can't put back until you're way done with it, but like you have to go downstairs with it and everything. And I'm like,
For like 30 minutes, you got this
Yeah.
key, walking around, whatever. Like,
yeah, this is one of my like kind of beefs with the game is that it doesn't really make any sense. Like you're just going back and forth between rooms. Like there is one part at the beginning where your acolyte is like, hey, I'll call you if they come back.
Yeah. But
Really
then it
bad
never
guys.
happens
are
again.
they? It's the middle.
Apparent-
It's the middle of a snowstorm.
Yeah.
All their luggage is in their rooms. All their shit is in their rooms. Where are they?
And as you find
Yeah.
out at the end, at least 2 of them are in the hotel on your floor.
The whole time.
The whole time.
Or I don't know if it's the
Well,
whole time, but at least
Yeah.
You hear the bang in the beginning, so I think one of them maybe was just unconscious, and you couldn't. There was a part of the hallway where you couldn't walk down because
Yeah.
there was luggage in the
Yeah.
way. But this is what really ruined the game for me. About halfway through, I realized that it was like no one's coming back. Like no
Yes.
one's in this hotel. No one's here.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's no people. There's like 10 rooms on this floor, and no one's in their room. No one ever comes back.
Yeah.
That's where the stakes were lost for me because I was like,
Even if
no
they
one
would have
here.
Yeah, even if they would have came in like one time to be like, "Oh, hey, I came to grab my stuff," just
They're-
something to like startle you to kind of like keep you on edge. I think that would have
and like you're
done
the
something,
maid.
but-
You're the maid, so you're allowed to be in there.
Uh-huh.
It wouldn't have been off for you to be in there. It would have because you're snooping. You would have been scared, but
Yeah.
you definitely could have talked to them and talked your way out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think I was really disappointed that you never ran into anyone.
Well, even as like
Yeah.
part of the story, because at a certain point, like at the beginning, I was definitely like close every door. Like while I'm in there, close the door.
Yep.
You know, when I leave, close the door. But towards the end, I was the same way. I was like, I'll just leave all the doors open and just move back and forth freely. Like I
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
But I figured like if somebody drops in on me, it's going to be like during a story scene. Like when I discover this, that triggers the person walking in during that
Yeah.
like cut scene. But not even that happened.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like-
and so you don't see any guests. You don't see any employees. You see 3-4 people the whole time. It's just, I hated it. I hated that part of the game. It really took me out of it.
I think that they were maybe not confident or didn't like the process of like designing and animating these characters.
They looked so good though.
Which is exactly, this is like what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The characters they did have, they looked good. Bernard's face is a little funky, but
he just got a little work done. Too much work done.
Yeah, for sure. 1950s work too.
But yeah, it's like what I think there's 5 characters that you actually see in the game. There's Sophie, there's Beth, Andrew, Bernard, and that cop guy at the end. Can you guys think of anybody else they animated?
The detective. The 3 girls that make fun of you.
They do get animated.
That
was really okay.
But it was like for a hot second, and they're gone. Like that was it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So that pissed me off beyond all means.
Yeah.
Because that for me, that was the tension, was the fear that someone was going to come in.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where I realized no one's going to come in. Like I don't have to be worried about this. Like all I have to be worried about is the way that I do things to affect the end of the game. So
yeah, and gosh, yeah, it would have even been good if they like you had finished the room and then they called up and said, "Oh, he's on his way. You need to get out of that room."
Yeah,
to get out of there. So at least there would be some urgency or some suspense. But it was kind of like, "Oh, I'll call you back later." Oh, guess what? I'm never calling you the rest of the game because no one else shows up. So
and it's funny too. Like I almost wonder if like that sort of thing was planned at some point and they just didn't follow through with that.
Yeah,
because that was a big deal. Like at the beginning, like right when you're here, 505 at where we are telling the story, is like Beth was like, "I will call you if they come back."
Yeah, like it was super urgent. Like I won't call again unless they're coming back here. Like
And then after that, you're snooping through all these other rooms, and there's no conversation of that. You're not worried about when they'll come back or if they'll come back.
No,
they're gone forever. Don't worry about it. Like,
and so at this point, you've found these incriminating pictures of yourself. You're in 505. This is where you choose your acolyte.
Yep.
Oh, who are you going to call?
Yeah.
Who are you going to call?
You call down. You 2 chose Beth. I chose Andrew. I'm curious if the same kind of stuff happens. Because with Andrew, he's very tactful about the advice that he gives. Kind of about like what you should do. How was Beth? What was her reaction?
She was like, "Get in there, Snoop."
Yeah, essentially that was kind of it. At least from the beginning, she's like, "Yeah, just go for it, and I'll like let you know." But this is what I'm finding, and she would help with like finding people in like certain rooms and things. Like if you need help with that, also like city awareness. Like if there's some stuff like within the city that you're trying to figure out, she would kind of give you. It was one point that she made a detail on, but outside of that, it was kind of just like, yeah, just keep going. And I'll make sure everything's okay and cover you. Like,
I think she was like kind of interested in the gossip of it all a little bit. She's like, "Oh, this is exciting. Like you should check it out."
100%. Yeah, she was totally in it for the discovery of the.
She was very encouraging.
Yeah, of finding that tea. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Andrew was less. I mean, he cared about the gossip and stuff, but he was more like logical about everything. So yeah, I feel like it didn't matter which acolyte you chose for the story. They gave like similar clues and advice.
Yeah.
That was just my assumption.
When you were talking to Andrew, this might be like farther down the line, but at least for Beth, there are some opportunities to maybe have some romantic conversations.
Yes.
Did you go down that route with Andrew?
I did. Yes.
What happened?
Well, and this kind of goes into the ending because at the end you also have some choices of whether you carry that on or not. In my mind, I was like, I'm gonna do the flirt options because that's gonna like, I need as much help as I can get. So like, I'm really gonna, I wanna be on good terms, like maybe great terms with Andrew, so I get as much help as I need.
Sure.
And when we get to the ending, I'll tell you what.
Okay.
How I went down that road.
Sounds good.
I did see, that you could also flirt with Beth.
Yep. I decided I kept it platonic with Beth.
Okay.
So I kept it cordial and professional.
I romanced the shit out of Beth.
Nice. Yeah, somebody has to. So yeah.
I thought that was a fun option, especially given kind of the other themes throughout this game.
Yeah.
And we'll get there very quickly because we're about to jump into the first little puzzle you have to solve is finding the safe code
Yep.
for Paul's room, because
505.
yeah, because you're trying to figure out like what is going on. Why is he stalking you?
Yeah, why does he have so much film? Because when you go into his room and you look on top of his vault, there's like, I don't know, 15 canisters of film on top of it. Like he's been taking
Yeah.
a lot of pictures about stuff. So
Yeah, and you kind of find out by snooping around. You're looking for certain dates for the code, and you find that he was like a military man.
yeah.
He spent some time in a psychiatric hospital.
Yeah, he had panic attacks after the war, and so was really struggling with that.
Yeah, this is back in the time where like anxiety and mental health wasn't really a thing, so people just had the vapors.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true. Yeah.
So yeah, like pretty misunderstood with the mental health stuff. But there's also like a we've talked about this, the Charlie Day wall. If anyone watches It's Always Sunny.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pepe Sylvia. No, there's just a like with the red string and
Yeah, it's like
and
a map
The
with the
map.
yawn.
and-
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah, so one of those, and it does apparently mirror like your entire day, the day before, like the restaurant you went to and like the bus that you took.
Well, I think it's
And-
more like things that you've done recently.
Or
'Cause
yeah.
I think one of them
Yeah.
was like, oh, I remember I went there like 2 weeks ago. Like, how long has this guy been stalking me?
Yeah,
Yeah, and that was the question. Yeah, how long has he been doing this for?
Yeah,
So,
but you eventually break into that safe and you find that there's a whole like journal.
It's like a
not-
logbook.
Not about you,
nope.
but it's about Marcella
And
Mhm.
Hector
and Hector Cruz.
Yes, H&M Cruise.
Yes.
in room 509.
Yeah,
Yep.
and this is when you call back to your acolyte and they tell you that they're staying at the hotel.
Yep. We should go check out that room next.
Yes.
He's
I
also
felt-
got a Glock in there. Clack, clack.
Did you
Yeah.
guys pick this gun up?
Yeah.
I did pick the gun up. Yeah, it's actually a Luger. He has a Luger
Yeah.
in his... it's not a Glock, but...
I don't think it's a Glock, but I don't feel confident to correct you.
I don't know guns, so those all mean the same thing.
I did not pick it up because I was like,
Fingerprints?
I do not want to get in trouble because I know something's going to go down.
Yeah.
I'm not
yeah.
touching this gun.
Oh, I went full Snoop.
Yeah.
As soon as I started snooping, I'm like, I've decided I'm gonna go full Snoop.
Mm-hmm.
So I touched everything.
That was the
Everything.
only thing in the game that I did not touch. But then I did end up touching it later when I couldn't solve a clue that was related to the safe.
Oh,
And I was like, well, maybe I just need to pick up the gun.
yeah,
So I did. Didn't matter if you touch it or not.
yeah, it didn't matter.
And before we go to Marcella and Hector Cruz's room, can we talk about the VIP guest?
Oh, that doucher. Yeah, what the
Well,
heck?
What about the VIP guest? This is another like weird storyline that was a huge deal that Andrew kept, at least for me, Andrew kept
Yeah.
bringing it up because Andrew was bringing things up to him.
Great call. I forgot about that.
Like
Never talked about it.
constantly. Yeah.
We never figured out who, like, I mean, I don't know if they were trying to make this like a red herring.
How many times did Andrew go up there? Because I know Andrew was dealing with them quite a bit. Beth went one additional time, so that's why I'm curious.
So when you first run into Andrew in the elevator, he's bringing him up snow.
yeah.
And then there's another time that you run into Andrew in the basement and he's looking for something to go bring up to that guy. And I
Yeah.
think there was maybe one more time that he had to bring something up there. Or
Gotcha.
It wasn't a ton, but I was so bothered by yet another loose end that wasn't even tied up at all. And like, I understand that, like, yeah, there's a guest staying there and it's a huge deal, but it didn't pertain to the story. So why was it brought up over and over and over again?
I think definitely, yeah, red herring distraction of like,
Yeah.
oh, the hotel life. You have to remember the hotel life's still going on.
Yeah,
And these are the
but-
things that are happening
Yeah,
at
I
your
think
job.
This was an example of something that they tried, in my opinion, tried to make a red herring, but it felt like it was just shoehorned in there to
Sure.
confuse me with no other explanation.
Sure.
Well, it's really interesting. I'm wondering if I maybe missed some aspects of this that maybe it was more important than I thought. Like, I really felt like it was just like, oh, a hotel trope, like the guest that you have to do whatever you want, that they want to. It also added some like characterization for Bernard, I think, to show like, oh, he's the type of guy, like, oh, he's got some fancy guy at his hotel. Like, he's going to like bend over backwards and like send his staff doing all sorts of random missions because he wants to keep this guest like crazy happy.
Yeah.
But there was like a note at the very end when you're after you call the police, you like wait in the reception area for a minute, and there's a note there that says that the guest in 602, this fancy guest,
Oh yeah.
wants to meet with the guest in 505.
Yeah.
And it's like from Bernard. He's like, I don't know why anybody would want to meet with that freak in 505.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, like what is that about?
I don't know. Yeah, it's just very confusing. And
Yeah.
then you also, if you're, there's like a piece of paper down in the basement when you're in the basement in the break room, once you're able to get back in there, where the mean girls are having a conversation where they're writing out and they're just talking about this VIP guest and like who they think it is. And again, for me, I was just like, okay, this has to be like important, or we're going to figure out who it is, but there was no conclusion. And I think just like a lack of conclusion at all. I was just like, why did we talk about this so much?
Sure.
Like, why was this like little bits and pieces laid out around the hotel about it, your acolytes talking about it, and it's just like,
yeah.
okay.
And I wonder if it's because you had Andrew, because I didn't really feel that way. I was just like thought it was flavor or like world building even.
Maybe.
Until that note at the end, which yeah, like you said, like nothing came of it.
Yeah.
So what was going on?
Yeah, with Beth, it wasn't like the forefront of what she was doing. So
yeah.
she was kind of doing other stuff. So.
Interesting.
Beth was so funny. The way she was talking to that guy on the phone at the beginning,
Oh yeah.
Oh
being
yeah.
sarcastic. So funny. I wish I remember what she was saying.
Oh
But-
man.
Yeah. But anyways, I just wanted to bring that up because for me, I was like, why?
That's a great
is this
call.
VIP? That was one of the things that I was like, this was a shoehorned red herring. Like, it wasn't well done. For me, a red herring also has a conclusion and a storyline that explains why it was talked about so much and how it's normal and not a big deal.
Sure.
Well, and even just a brief like, oh, and that was that. Like, at least there would be something, some closure.
Yeah. But anyways, you roll into Hector and Marcella's room now.
The cruises.
The cruises, and there's trouble in paradise.
Yeah, you walk in and immediately you see that looks like someone's been sleeping on the couch. Someone's been sleeping on the bed.
Ruh-roh.
They're here for the Valentine's weekend.
Yeah.
Looks like it's not going very well.
No.
Yeah. So you start doing some digging and find out that there may be some marital issues going on.
For sure.
Something
Yeah.
else is afoot. And so at this point, you're trying to get into they have is this the double key?
No.
This is the name
No.
one, right? With the letters. The
This
letter.
is like you're decoding this message that was written in a secret code.
Yeah, with the different symbols and stuff that you start
Yeah.
finding. So yeah, you have to decipher all that, which I thought was actually kind of fun. I really enjoy those puzzles, so I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
This is the one puzzle that I did like, where you're looking through the room, you're trying to find I don't know about you guys, but I had already picked up a few documents that had writing on it with like kind of, or like symbols underneath letters, and I was like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And then you get this code and I'm like, oh, I've seen some of these. And
Yep.
so you kind of have to go through the entire room looking for all the pieces of paper that will give you the right letters to decode this message.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was writing down the matches before I even found the cryptid note, because I saw a couple and I was like, oh wait, this is a code. And so I was writing them down. So
Oh,
Nice job.
that felt fun to me. And then I found it, and solved it. But
Yeah. See, I wish that most of the, like, more of the puzzles would have felt like that.
Yeah.
Where,
Yeah.
again, you're taking out a notepad. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's missed. You have your chaotic notes sitting next to you where you're just like, scribbling down all the things that
Yeah.
you find.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted from this game. And I don't think that we got it very often.
Yeah. It felt like a lot more like you were really getting into like detective style work, really investigating stuff when you start getting into those deep puzzles.
So much reading.
Yeah.
Reading.
Yeah.
Reading.
a lot of documents about
reading.
their
Oh,
financial situations, and
Yeah.
letters from family members, and
yeah.
like stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, so basically what was going on with their marriage was that like it seemed like Hector was trying to like renew their vows, and he had like documents that of like he was trying to like bring up the subject of their marriage. And he had like kept crossing things out.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, it seemed like he was kind of torn up about the whole thing and was really trying to like make it better. I don't really remember the things that Marcella had as much, but she had
Her,
basically like
bank account had been completely empty.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that really there weren't a ton of documents yet that you could look at, because there is a locked box in her room.
Yeah, you didn't really get her perspective as well.
Yeah.
on their marriage.
Not at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, for reasons that you find out later, because you find out her perspective and you're like, oh.
Yeah, she has a different perspective for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, but this again is when you call down to your acolyte at one point or another in this room, and I think I don't know that you uncover any mysteries, but this is a point where you can start conversing with your acolyte.
Yeah, you kind of describe what's going on. You found this hidden message, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. And that message tells you that that there's a message in the vent. And so near your room, I'm putting a message in your vent. So you have to go find a screwdriver so that way you can open up the vent and get the new message.
Oh, and this screwdriver hunt sends you onto the elevator where Bernard is.
Oh, yeah.
No. Is Bernard in the elevator at this point?
Yeah.
When you're going down,
When you're
because
going
he
down.
asks you, this is where you have the opportunity to lie.
Well,
Yeah.
did you guys hear him and Linda in the room before you went on the elevator?
Yeah.
Oh, is that... I did not realize...
Is that when they're...
hooking up?
Yeah, because they're doing the dirty at one point.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay,
That
bye.
was-
Yeah, I think we need to go back, because like the first time that you're downstairs too, well, is this when Bernard is? Or another time you go down?
Well...
Because
I know that you run into Bernard here. I don't know if they were hooking up in that room yet.
They were
maybe
hook-
they were.
They, at least for me, they were hooking up in the room like immediately before he got in the elevator, because I was like, oh, this is extra awkward.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Then
yeah.
it must have been. And you can hear them, and
Like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, ugh. Oh,
I know, I
walk
was like,
away.
But you hear the second half of this conversation where earlier when you're down in like the break room, somebody has left a note on. You're down there to get a key.
we completely missed
yeah.
the getting the key part.
The master key,
because we left our key in the break room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go down to get a key, and you can't get in the break room for some reason.
It's locked.
It just
Yeah.
doesn't make any fucking sense.
And the master key doesn't open the break room.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, so you go
Yeah.
to by Linda's office, there's a little key box, and you grab her master key, but you notice that somebody has placed a note on her door and wrote in like bitch or something. Or
Yeah. And there's someone crying in the bathroom.
Yeah. And so I guess Wendy has found this note between Linda and Bernard about.
Linda is trying. Okay, so Linda
hypocritical bitch, I think.
Linda
hypocrite,
is
yeah.
all against divorce. And so she is upset that now that Wendy is engaged to, was it Jacques?
Jacques, yeah.
Now that they're engaged, the fact that she's being flirty with the guests is just unacceptable, because divorce is unacceptable, and she's going down this heinous path that's going to lead to this sin.
I didn't know she had like a self-righteous reason. I thought she was just a bitch.
Well, she left all those flyers around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all
there's
there's
don't get
flyers
divorced.
everywhere
Divorce is
about
bad.
Divorce
Yeah.
is bad.
It's like, good Lord, 50s.
And so
Yeah.
she's been like shit talking Wendy to Bernard and trying to get Wendy fired, and also talking shit about Wendy to Jacques, and
Yeah.
trying to convince Jacques that like Wendy's like cheating on him, and she's just being an all around bitch. And so
Yeah.
you do come down and you see that in this red, you find out it's lipstick.
Yeah.
Like hypocritical bitch or something is written on there, or you bitch. I don't remember what it
Yeah.
says. And you have the choice to throw away like the note and clean up the lipstick or not.
I left it.
You
Well,
left it.
and
I left. It's not my message to clean up. So.
Yeah, and the note is like basically from Bernard to Linda. That's like, hey, like come by tonight, bring that new lingerie I brought you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
have sex.
Yeah. Let's get it on.
Yeah,
Jeez.
cowabunga.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't clean it off.
I cleaned it off.
Oh.
Well, so in my mind,
yeah.
'cause
I want to
again,
hear your perspective.
I was like, okay, what would I do in this like work scenario? And in my mind, I was like, okay, even if Wendy did do this to Linda and Linda is a bitch, this is not an appropriate way to be dealing with the situation. I was like, I'm gonna get rid of this. This is so unprofessional. Like I can't leave this just like out and about.
Sure.
I was not having it. So I cleaned it up, I threw it away. And then I found the lipstick in Wendy's locker.
Oh.
Did you look through all of the lockers?
I did.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't look through all of them. I looked through some of them.
This is what took me 6.5 hours. I went through every single locker. I read every
Yeah.
single thing.
Yep.
And then you do find that the lipstick in Wendy's locker matches the lipstick color that wrote it. And I was like, Wendy, no. And so I had already cleaned it up by then.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I wasn't even trying to like protect anyone. I was in the mindset of this is so unprofessional and like this just needs to not be here.
That's great though. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, but then later you realize that it's a setup.
Uh-huh.
Linda did it. Linda was trying to get Wendy fired.
Yep.
What? You don't think so?
I don't know. Did you not notice that, like, so in that same room, right? This like locker room where this like hypocrite bitch thing is written on the door.
Yeah.
There's like a bathroom right there, and Wendy's in there.
She's crying. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that you find out later that Linda was trying to get Wendy fired. So Linda used Wendy's lipstick to write it.
I think somebody tells you that, but I was like, this is suspect because I feel like Wendy was right there.
She
crying.
was.
She was upset about the situation
Yeah.
and mad.
Yeah.
Like, I was like 100% Wendy did it.
Yeah, but I wonder if it happened after Wendy went into the bathroom and started crying.
But then when
Wendy,
Wendy came out, she would see it.
But it was gone because I got rid of it.
Oh, but it,
not for us.
yeah, not for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, my stance, that's funny that you were like, this is toxic. I'm taking it down.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is toxic. I'm staying out of this.
Yeah. I
Like
was
I didn't even want to take the key because I was like, I don't want there to be any evidence that I saw this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be involved. I took
Yeah.
the same stance later on too.
I
Kind of.
feel like I was like, I already have enough on my plate with this whole 500 situation, 505, 509. I don't want to deal with this. Not
Yeah.
my message. I'm gonna not clean it
Yeah.
up.
I was also
So,
super unsure of like who would appreciate me taking that down. Like, would Wendy
Well, and
be
for,
like, "Oh, thank you," because I would have been in trouble. I was just so mad. Or would like Linda be like, "You knew about this and you didn't tell me"? Like, I was like,
uh-huh.
I don't want to. I don't know.
Yeah.
You
know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mhm.
For me, I was like, even if Linda is being a bitch, this is not the appropriate way to be dealing with the situation. Like, and so I'm just taking it down. They can deal with it.
Very professional
later.
of you.
And yeah, I ended up saving Wendy's job.
Nice.
So Wendy didn't get fired.
Wendy got fired. I got employee of the month.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So that is this is something that you can do that will affect your ending, like who gets fired and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
She would have got it too.
yeah,
but,
yeah.
you know.
So, but I'm 99% sure that you found out later that Linda, and I think it's Linda talking about it.
Yeah,
I don't, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. I
was-
remember hearing that and thinking that like, oh, somebody's just trying to like, I don't know. I thought they were trying to cover for Wendy or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
See, I was sure that Linda was trying to set Wendy up because she's been trying to get her like fired this entire time. But
I
Yeah.
would not be surprised.
yeah,
Yeah.
But would she out her and Bernard's relationship to everybody that walks by?
I don't think she really cared. I mean, they're shacking up in the hotel and
Yeah. Also,
Oh.
okay, so we'll fast forward. So then you hear Linda and Bernard like talking about that. She's like, "Oh, that like, are you just gonna let her write that note about me?" And Bernard's like, "Of course not. Let's bone." Basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So then you have to go down to get the screwdriver. So you get on the.
Yeah.
You're right. This is when he gets on the elevator. And
Yeah,
he comes on there. And it's
yeah.
real tense. And
I
it's
told
like,
the truth.
I lied.
Oh, I told the truth as well.
It was a bad
Yeah.
idea.
Well, then I told the truth again. And he's like, "Are you dumb?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I'm just trying to fix it. Like, I'm just trying to fix it."
Oh, I lied
Yeah.
the second time.
Oh, I didn't lie the second time. I was just plain dumb.
Yeah, because he asked you like, "Are you on your break right now? Like, shouldn't you be in the 500 like cleaning?"
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm on my break.
"Oh," I was like, "I'm looking for a screwdriver," and he's like, "Let Eugene do that," and I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Well, the problem I ran into here was so you're looking for this screwdriver. You had done some snooping around in Eugene's office and you found that he was really upset that they were trying to stop the psychiatric hospital from being opened up next door because he has a daughter who would have really benefited from it being there. And so he was kind of upset about that. And then you find that he's supposed to be fixing the window in Bernard's office.
Yeah, doing something in there.
Doing something in
Yeah.
there. And he's not in there when you go in there. So this is another chance that you have. Did you guys close the window or fix the window?
I closed the window and cleaned up everything and picked everything up. Yeah.
I don't know if I just was. I didn't. I saw the screwdriver there and I was like, "Cool, the screwdriver. Let me pick it up." I couldn't pick it up until I cleaned the water off the floor.
Oh.
And I couldn't interact with any of that stuff till I shut the window.
Oh.
So like I shut the window and I cleaned the stuff up and then I left the note on the floor. So I was such a good maid. I cleaned up every mess.
Yeah. Interesting.
I think I threw away that piece of paper, whatever that was. I think it was some document or something, but I don't remember.
Eugene got fired too in my game.
What? Oh, because you left the paper?
Because I left the note. And this was just a note that's like, so Bernard was, basically he was on the side, he was against the psychiatric hospital coming into the neighborhood, which like,
oh yeah, this is like a nasty note, isn't
yeah,
it?
and he was writing a note basically saying like, oh, I really support like keep these loonies off our streets or something.
Yeah.
Like it's going to tarnish the reputation of my hotel. And then Eugene had been in there and so he saw this letter and so he wrote like, I don't know, enjoy the cold, asshole, or something.
Yeah.
The window open and the snow was coming in.
Yeah.
So I left the note, cleaned up the mess that got me.
Shit.
It was such a. So you get the screwdriver. You then Bernard is like, oh, what are you doing in my office? And I was like, oh no, I was just shutting the door. It was ajar. He's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
Wow.
see, Andrew came and saved me from this one.
Beth came and saved me.
Beth was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and then did Beth get in trouble?
Beth got in trouble. Yep.
Yeah. 'Cause
When?
Yeah.
Andrew got in trouble here because he took the fall for. I tried lying again, and the guy was like,
Oh, I was still honest. I'm like, I'm just here for a screwdriver. And he's like, are you stupid? Like, what are you doing? Like, are you supposed to be working? And I'm like, yeah, I need this screwdriver though. And so then he just let me go after that. But,
Oh.
Yeah. See,
then
I
Beth took
said
the fall.
that I was just shutting the door. It was ajar, and he was like, I don't buy it.
Oh,
And-
interesting.
And then Andrew, and maybe there was a different conversation that we had, or maybe it's because I had already lied once.
Could be.
But then Andrew was like, "Oh no, it's my fault." Like, kind of took
That's
the fall
what
for
Beth
me,
did,
and then
yeah.
had to go talk to Bernard. And then I was like, "No."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I was like, oh no, the door's ajar. And he's like, okay. And then just like went in. Like he looked like he didn't, like it was kind of sus, but I don't think nobody got in trouble there
Interesting.
besides
Yeah.
Eugene.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
So then I went upstairs and I cleaned the room where they had just shagged.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
me too.
yeah.
And then I was thinking to myself, like later, I was really reflecting. I was like, man, so like I got Wendy fired. I got Eugene fired. I cleaned up after the bosses getting it on. Like
Yeah.
I was just such a perfect little helper for them, wasn't I?
Yeah.
You're just a little
shoot.
sheep.
Man.
Just like real life.
No. Well, and so you're finally able to get that little message out.
Yes.
And you find that Marcella has been talking to, what is her name?
Well, so this letter is from Anne.
Anne.
Yeah.
And she's
Yes.
writing to Marcella and she's saying, come to my room tonight at whatever time or something. Michael will be asleep.
Uh-huh.
We need to talk about our plan.
Yeah, we need to discuss our next steps or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
our plan.
Yeah. This is the moment that I went gay. They're gay.
That's the moment you went gay?
No, the second I read that message, I was like, oh, they're lovers.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
it didn't really pick up on me until a little bit later on.
That was the second. And that was the annoying thing because I was like, ugh. That was it. That was the big surprise.
That kind of is. Yeah, the big reveal of the game is that they were gay.
Yeah,
I'm
and it's like, oh.
whoa.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's it? Really? Like, I mean, I guess in the 50s, that was a very big thing at
Sure.
the time.
But you're releasing this in 2023.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
Now it's like, really? Who cares, honestly?
yeah. So,
Like, let them love who they love. I don't really care.
Well, and I think like it was supposed to be more tense with the setting, and they tried to set you up with that. With like they had some newspaper articles about like deviance and stuff. And,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
there's the documents that like Linda had put around that's like divorce is bad, like no matter what, never get divorced. And I think there was like some anti-homosexual stuff
there
in one of the
was
lockers
in one of
too.
the lockers.
Yeah.
It's like it could be anybody, even your own son.
Yeah.
Like,
Good grief.
Yeah. But so I don't know. This was very lackluster for me, and I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But then you go and this is when, for me, it was Andrew. I'm assuming Beth did this, called the phone in Anne's room
Yep.
to see if she was there. So you could go
Yep.
in, even though the do not disturb was on the handle, which, why are you leaving the do not disturb on the handle when you're not there?
So people don't disturb.
But
While
there's
you're not there.
nothing to disturb. You
Maybe
don't
they
want
just
your
forgot to take it off.
trash picked up.
Maybe they
Yeah,
don't.
Maybe they don't.
I don't know.
I'll be honest. Sometimes there's times I don't.
I mean, I've definitely been at hotels and I'm like, I had like 2 things. Like, stop this. Like,
Yeah.
or they like arrange my like groceries or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know.
Don't touch. Like, don't waste your time.
I'm just
Yeah.
again, I'm just annoyed that the people were never there.
I was more like, okay, they called and nobody answered. Well, also they don't want to be disturbed, so
Like, does that
I
mean
should
that
not go
they're-
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you end up going in there because there's no one there.
Because
Yeah.
that's what you have to do for the game. That's why I went.
That's
in there.
right.
They make you.
Got Snoop.
And then this is where you end up finding that 2-key
Yes.
box.
So romantic.
Yes.
Mhm.
And there's some things about, there's like a pillow fort or like a fort in the corner
Uh-huh.
where Michael's
Michael's
made
the
his own-
son.
Yeah, his own
Yeah.
little space, and you find that it's very obvious that Anne is running away from her seemingly abusive husband.
Yes.
Sounds like very
Yeah.
abusive. Yeah.
Yeah, and so kind of getting out of a scary situation, won't let Michael tell him where they are.
Yeah.
So they're kind of in hiding. And then you find this letter. There's a letter between Anne, and you don't know who they're talking to because the like name is
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
etched out. But you don't really uncover a lot other than the relationship between Anne and her husband. But then it begins this mystery of where's the second key for this box.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it turns out that it's on Anna, and so we're not able to get that
Well, it's
second.
on Marcella.
Or it's on Marcella.
Yeah,
but
she
we're
wears
not,
it around her neck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we're not able to get that second key because she left, following plausibly Paul is what we're suspecting, I think, at this point.
Oh, because at one point you also find out, this is a phone call between either Andrew or Beth, that there was like a disagreement in the lobby between Paul and Hector
Yeah.
and Marcella. And so there was kind of like, they didn't hear what the fight was about, but then like Marcella went running out, or Paul, I don't know. There was
I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Paul, and then Marcella followed or something a few minutes after, something like that. Yeah.
So
To be honest, at that point in the game, I didn't have their names straightened out yet, so I did not know who actually was arguing
yeah.
in the lobby.
Yeah.
Admittedly, yeah, when Bernard went into the elevator, I thought that was Mr. Cruz.
Oh.
And so I was like, oh,
Oh.
Mr. Cruz is in the elevator. Why is he asking me so many questions? And I'm like, oh, no, this is my boss. Whoops. So, yeah,
I thought it
get
was Paul. I thought it was
At
the creepy
first
guy.
I did
Yeah.
until he started talking. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
no.
Oh,
But then
yeah.
I was like, oh, it's just my boss.
Because he was
Yeah.
creepy.
He was
Yeah,
creepy.
Very creepy. Yeah.
Yeah, but so yeah, you need to find the other key. This I struggled with. I really struggled to find the clue of where the second key was.
Yes, this is the one that I needed help for.
Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry.
It's okay. And I needed to look it up as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent probably 45 minutes going through every room, picking up everything again, looking through all my old clues. And even the clue that she was giving was
Yeah.
like, I think I remember seeing it in this room.
Yeah, room
This-
505.
This was stupid to me.
Yes.
I hated
And then
this.
she's like, for some reason I think of a safe. So I'm like, okay, 505 is one clue, safe is a second. So that's the only safe you've opened in this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
At this point anyways. So I looked through that whole journal again. I was picking up there's so many film canisters, and I realized that when you pick them up, they're all identical, but you're
Yeah.
picking up a different one each time.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of see in the background like a different one's picked up.
Yeah.
So I picked up every single one, and finally I was like, well, I guess I have to look at the gun now.
Mm-hmm.
Also I didn't
No.
understand. So
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that was a little annoying to me. Again, not a puzzle. Just going back to look at something that you've already looked at, and it was poorly done in my opinion.
Yeah, it
I
could be
don't
done
know.
better for sure.
I don't know. But I feel bad shitting on this game, but it was fine. So you find out that you can't get a hold of the second key. So I'm assuming Beth helps you make a dummy key.
Yeah,
like a
dummy
cast of
key.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is Andrew also helped me make a little fake key.
What was the reasoning behind how Andrew knew how to make this key?
So Andrew was like really into books. He read a lot of mystery novels, and he had read a novel about this in one of.
Well, that's kind of fun.
He had read about it in one of his books.
Beth, she learned about it on her farm. Her dad taught her because he would lock things up and then lose the key, and so you'd have to get into the shed or whatever. And so he learned how to make a plaster key. And
Interesting.
So,
Which doesn't really make sense to me because, like in this case, we had to have a copy of the key to make a copy. So if he lost his keys,
yeah, I don't know how that worked either.
Yeah.
Maybe he just kept a mold of it in case.
Oh, maybe.
Which
yeah.
in that case, I'm like, just make spare keys.
Yeah, at that point. But yeah.
he's got his collection of molded keys.
Yeah.
I don't know where the keys are, but
I got these
got
ones.
all these.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a hobby.
I did have an issue with the mechanic of pouring because you have to like heat up the wax and then pour the wax in. And then, I had some issues with that. Like the way I was using my mouse. Like
I had the same thing.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. And so I was like wiggling it all over the place and eventually it poured. Yeah. And I was like, okay, it works.
I could get it in position to pour, but then I couldn't like tilt it.
Yeah.
See,
That's
this
so
was
funny.
really smooth with the controller. It
Sure.
went really smooth, but that's funny because we go up to use the key, and it was impossible to carefully turn the key with the controller. So I had saved earlier and I went back and started over because I had broken the key
you
in
did?
the lock. And I was like, no, I don't want, like, I was trying to be careful, and I tried like 3 times with the controller, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to switch to mouse and keyboard. And mouse and keyboard, it was so easy.
Interesting.
But yeah, so I was able to like very carefully turn it, but with the controller, it was like, dink! It would just turn and snap. I was like, God damn it.
What did they say when she broke it in the lock? Because there must have been some conversation. Yeah, because
she went like, well, it was in French, so it was like, it was like shoot or something like that. But
man. Yeah, I didn't break my key, so I got in.
I really didn't want to break it, so I had started over and got it until I was able to open it without breaking it.
Yeah, I was trying to be careful. I used the mouse and keyboard. I was careful because I didn't want to break it either. But then I was wondering, like, what if maybe you can't even break it?
You can break it,
I don't think I did that good of a job.
It leaves it in there, like you can't get it out.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I think in the end it incriminates you. I think you get in trouble.
Oh, really?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So, but this is where the big reveal is.
Yeah, so this is where you figure out that Marcella and Anne have been
They're lovers.
Yeah.
Or they used to be lovers.
Yeah. And
when they were in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were roommates.
They were roommates.
Yeah, and so Marcella wrote this book, and Anna's like, hey, is that about us? Yeah, is that about our love? Like, is this rekindling? Should we do this? And so that's where you learn all that. There's like a bunch of pieces of paper in this, and you go through all of it. So much reading. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff to go over. So, but yeah, essentially it boils down to they're in love.
Yeah.
And
they're trying to run away together.
Yeah.
But there was talk of Moida.
There was a little bit of talk of.
I don't remember if it's in that.
It was on the there was like a list that I think was.
That was the list of books, though.
Was that?
Yeah,
no,
in the bottom. Yeah, you're right.
I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, or ahead of the story for us, but because there's another like locked item in Marcella's room, and you get the code for that. This is another weird puzzle.
Half of the puzzle was easy, half of it was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the annoying thing for me is I had already looked at the clue for the second part of it, or the first part of it. I don't remember. Basically, you find out like it's the first 2 letters of the first word and the last 2 letters of the second word.
Oh yeah, this is the one that I brute forced.
The second one is what was it?
The second one was the easier one for me, and it was like, oh, this alliterative name was like the clue, and it was one of the letters. It was about Doris Day, some concert or somebody they listened to.
Yeah, you can find it in the letter. But the other one was
unlike my favorite bar, this one's black.
Yeah,
was the clue. You need to know a 5-letter word. It's like how does this relate to the bar?
Well, and
What?
so you
Yeah.
call down. Andrew asked Beth about like bars around town, and you can hear Beth in the background. She says something like the White Cat or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I had already picked up the cat's collar in that room, but you need to pick up the cat's collar again and look at the cat's name
I
because they
didn't
have a
even-
black cat. Yeah.
I did
so-
not get that part. I like for us, Beth's talking and Beth asks Andrew about the alliteration because she doesn't know what that means.
Oh.
And so she asks Andrew and Andrew explains what that means. And then she says, yeah, the white bar or the white
Cat.
cafe. Yeah, the
Yeah.
white cat.
White Cat was the name of the bar.
Yeah. And so I went to the bathroom and found the matches. And I was like, oh, maybe it's something on here. Nope. And then I was like, I don't really know. Like, I'm kind of tired of looking around. So I just brute forced it. I just
Smart.
I got the first two and I just rolled until I got it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was the same as you, Emma, because I had found that like animal collar. I didn't know if it's a cat or dog, like so far before you can even get into that box to get this riddle.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is random.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know how I would connect that cat collar to their past, which was what the riddle was supposed to be about.
Yeah. Well, and they didn't really mention that it was a cat collar.
Yeah.
Because for me, I originally assumed that it was a dog collar. Maybe it tells you somewhere, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. That was a little.
I was like, they brought an animal collar with them on vacation.
Yeah.
Weird.
Like,
Weird,
where's the
yeah.
cat? Where's the cat? Did the cat
Yeah.
die? I don't know. It was bizarre. But so you end up getting into this other box, and it's like a typewriter, and you find out that Marcella is the writer of all these romance novels.
These gay novels.
Yeah.
And she's even
Scandalous.
kept that secret from Hector.
Uh-huh.
Her husband doesn't even know. And then you kind of find out where Paul fits in.
Yeah.
So Paul has actually been hired. She hired him because she wants to move from romance to mystery, like crime novels. And she wanted to understand what it felt like, or like kind of get a different perspective. So she had hired Paul to follow her and like stalk her, basically.
Oh, I didn't get that.
To get the
Yeah,
feeling
I
of
never
like what it would be like to be stalked.
She was
Oh.
trying to get in the feeling of like what it would be like for someone to follow her.
Some weird like meta kink
some-
shit.
Yeah, for sure.
And Paul was just a very big fan of her romance novels, and he also was gay. And you find out that these letters he had written to this Lindsay character was actually a man. And so that's why he resonated with her novels so much, was because of the LGBTQ
Connection.
themes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think you also find out at this point, you find like oh no, this is later, but we'll talk about it when we get to the ice machine. But yeah, so you're like, okay, so Paul was hired to be here, I guess.
Yeah, it's real weird.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I understood that Marcella had hired Paul, but I did not understand why.
Yeah, it was to like get in so she could understand what it felt like, so she could better write about.
Okay.
yeah,
I
someone
wonder if
who
I
was-
missed a whole document or something.
I think it was in a document, but again, there were like 6 full-page documents that you had to read through here, so
Yeah.
I am surprised I picked up on everything.
Yeah.
But this is about where we get to the conclusion. I believe it's about this time that the power goes out.
This is the point
It's not quite
where
out
the
yet.
elevator starts dinging, and Sophie notices that the elevator door keeps dinging over and over and over, and so she's like, "Okay, I gotta go figure out what's going on." So
Yeah.
she goes out into the hall, and when she goes out to the hall, you see a trail of blood coming from the end of the hall to the elevator.
And this is the end you couldn't get to.
This-
So like
yeah.
the luggage has been moved to the side.
Yep.
And you can even see like handprints
Of,
in
like,
there,
someone
someone's
crawling.
dragged themselves from that side. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get to the elevator, and I had found Mr. Cruz there, laying in the elevator, and the elevator doors keep trying to close on him.
Yeah.
It's disturbing.
It is.
It is
Yeah.
very disturbing. My game ended up glitching out, so the doors showed as closed.
Half his body showing. Like,
This
Wow.
was like after because the power goes out and then I get the power back on, and when I go back out there, the doors are just shut, so he just is like a headless.
Oh my
body.
gosh.
But this is the other confusing thing to me, because you go to where he came from. There's a lot of blood by the ice chest. There's a few clues that you can pick up. Paul's camera is there.
Yep.
He's got a little journal. And there's a note from Marcella. And the note from Marcella is basically saying, like, Paul, you've gone too far. Like, I told you, like, we're done. You don't need to do this anymore. But then you're reading in his kind of journal, like, he's still, like, in this character.
In the mode, yeah.
Yeah. And so... And he writes about being bored and just kind of taking pictures of you just to pass the time, like it was harmless.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, for sure.
But I was confused because he also writes about, like, he's hiding out in this ice chest area, and then he hears Marcella and Anna coming, so he hides. And then that's the last thing he writes. And there's evidence of Marcella and Anna being there, so there's Anna's little cigarette case.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a pearl necklace just on the ground, like it's been ripped.
Yeah.
And in my eyes, I was like, oh my gosh, like a struggle happened here. Like they must have been here when Mr. Cruz died. And I was like, oh my God, did they actually kill him? Again, a red herring that has no explanation because they didn't. And but like, why was the necklace there? Like,
I mean,
oh, that's very interesting, because in my story, they definitely went to jail.
yes.
but did they do it?
But did they do it? Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think they did.
For me, I was just like, this is another piece of like a red herring that was put there to make me think something else, but it has no logical explanation as to why it was there. Unless they had an altercation with Paul. But again, there's no...
I think they try to do that so that way they can keep the investigation, like, I don't know, keep the energy up in the investigation, I guess. Like, try to keep you guessing, because there's a couple of these red herrings that keep popping up where you're having to question, like, is this real? Is that real? Which, I mean, I think if you were a maid trying to figure out an investigation, or anyone rather, you'd probably feel the same way. There probably would be things.
But it felt cheap to me, because there's no evidence that there actually was a scuffle there. It's like they put it there to make you think that it happened when they killed Hector.
Yeah.
But I don't think they did. And so I was like, okay, well, if they didn't do it and they weren't here when he was murdered, why is that there? Like, what is that doing there?
I don't know. I mean, maybe I was just like in the mode of like touch as little as possible because there's a freaking dead body.
Yeah.
I didn't really think too much about the necklace. I did pick it up and look at it, but I was like, oh, okay, there's no information that I can glean from this. So whatever.
Did you guys touch Mr. Cruz?
I think you had to.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. Well, you have to pull him. You have to pull him to go down the elevator.
Well, even before that, there's things on his body.
Yeah.
I tried to not touch anything, and she says, I think there's still things I could look at. So I was like, okay, I guess I have to touch a dead body.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah, I know. And the two things that are on him, the one is about a life insurance policy that Marcella had recently taken out on him.
Yeah.
And the other is like a note to Paul, or about Paul, like complaining about him.
Yeah.
And so this is when I started deciding exactly who I wanted to frame, I guess. I don't know, or who I thought did it.
Took a very active role.
And in my head, I was like, and so this is when I was like, okay, what do I need to throw away? And so I'm kind of in this brain of like, I think that I'm going to protect Marcella and Anna. I think I'm going to do that. And so I went and threw away all the evidence that they were a couple. Like I threw away
all their cherished memories.
Yep. Everything was gone. I threw it all away, and then I was like, okay, I think I'm going to leave Paul's stuff. And then I was like, oh, but there was like one more little clue that I found about a safe. And so you get the safe code for the Cruz's room.
Oh, yeah.
And when you look in there, you see this like extremely hateful, threatening note from the gentleman staying at 504.
Oh.
And what comes to be is that the guy living in 504 was in had a house fire, and his entire family died. And he lost everything, and he's pissed off because Mr. Cruz was an insurance agent and wasn't going to cover anything. And so then in my mind, I was like, oh my God, that's who killed him. He has nothing to lose. So I was like, okay, it was definitely him. It wasn't Paul. I think Paul is just having like a mental health crisis.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he actually killed someone. I don't think that Anne or Marcella would actually go through with like murdering a husband. They
Sure.
would just run away.
Well, also Hector didn't. There was no evidence that I had that Hector was like a bad dude.
Yeah.
No.
Like Anna's husband, terrible.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
not
Hector,
not here. Hector
just
he just wanted to.
not the right flavor.
He
Yeah.
wanted his wife back.
Yeah.
He was
I
just
know.
a sad guy.
Yeah, so then I was like, I know who did it. And then I went down the elevator.
Wah wah.
I forgot to throw away all of the things incriminating Paul because I found out I had left Paul's stuff. And then what I did do, though, was I threw away. I went back in and I was like, at first I was like, I'm not going to touch my stuff. And then I was like, well, now this is an investigation. I need to throw away the incriminating photos of me.
Yeah.
And so I threw away all the photos of myself. And then I also threw away all the canisters of photos because I was like, I can't just throw away the prints. I have to throw away the negatives.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I don't know which negatives belong to my pictures. So I'm just going to throw them all away.
So did you go to jail at the
interesting.
end?
No.
Oh, I wonder if you can go to jail as a character.
Yes, you can.
Oh, cool.
I looked up all the endings and that is a possibility.
Because I was like, you tampered the fuck out of this case.
I did. Well, and I also stepped in blood. I stepped in the pool of blood trying to throw away the only way you could get back to the note that Marcella left for Paul saying like, you've gone too far, like stop following me.
Uh-huh.
You had to step in the blood. And after you step in the blood, you start leaving bloody footprints everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I threw away the stuff that was on Mr. Cruz and I went downstairs. And then you go into the little like lobby where no one is and I threw a couple more things away in there, like the tickets that had been purchased by Anna and Marcella.
That's so interesting because I didn't throw away anything.
Same.
I
Yeah.
left I closed everything. So I
Oh,
closed
man.
all the suitcases and everything, but I left everything out for the most part.
Oh, I threw everything away.
Yeah, I tried to keep everything how it was if I had not been in there, except for the things that were my job as a maid.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I did too. And so mine was a little bit different because because of all the information pointed towards Marcella and being the ones who committed the crime.
They went to jail.
So they went to jail in my
And
story.
did you get fired?
I did not get fired. I
Did-
got employee of the
Oh,
month.
yes.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did Paul go to jail?
No, I'd have to double check. I
Because
don't remember on Paul.
For me, it was Paul and Anna and Marcella went to jail.
Oh,
I
my
think
God.
you're right. Yeah, because I left everything out except for my pictures that Paul took of me. I tossed those, but everything
I
else
left
I
those
left
up
out.
too.
Oh yeah, okay.
I
I know
just-
Still got
that.
employee of the month.
Still got employee of the month now, do you? Shoot.
Well, I just felt like anything that I mess with is like evidence that I'm like have something to hide,
yeah.
you know? So, I mean, and also like shortly, you know, pretty much the next thing that happens is you get interrogated by the police officer and you
Who,
answer all
by
these
the
questions.
way, is a dick.
He is. But before you get investigated,
The
did
police?
you
Nah.
did you have a conversation with Beth while you were waiting for the police to come?
Yes, it's in the lobby. While we're
Yes.
waiting for the police, you go and sit down for
What
a
was
minute.
your conversation with her?
The conversation with her well, a little bit more. It was weird because she was kind of like hitting on you. So like,
Oh.
You were like, "Hey, I found a body," and she's like, "Yeah, whatever." Like, not yeah, whatever. But she was really chill about it.
Yeah,
she was
she's
not
like-
freaked out. She's like, she wasn't like, "What?"
Oh
or
my
where
gosh.
or like
Yeah.
how. She was just like, "Oh no."
yeah, maybe. Do you want to go like hang out sometime or something?
Oh.
And it's like, whoa, no, like we just found a
I
dead
was like-
body upstairs.
I was like, Beth, did you do this? You're way too chill about this.
Yeah, for sure.
I had
So-
like a very in-depth, like heartfelt conversation with Andrew because he sat me down. He finds me. He's like, "You look like you've seen a ghost. Like, are you okay?" And
Yeah.
you tell him like there's someone like dead up on the 5th floor, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, like let's go sit down." And you guys start talking, and you get into kind of everything that's been going on, and it comes out that he's like, "I'm really sorry, I was like scared to tell you this before, but when I was younger, I decided that I wanted to be a priest, and so I started, you know, going through the process of doing that, and I just became like so lost, and I didn't know who I was." And he alludes to becoming extremely depressed, but back in the 50s, this was like no one knew what was wrong with you. And so he said that he spent a short period of time in a psychiatric hospital.
Oh.
and he met Paul.
Oh.
So when he was in that psychiatric hospital, he had actually gotten to know Paul and talked to him. And then he warned you, he was like, be really careful what you tell the police, because even if Paul didn't do it, they're going to take this mental health thing and they're going to pin it on him no matter what. This is just how it's going to
Pretty
go.
much what happens, yeah.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's how my ending happened. And I really fought for him in the room.
You did the stand up for
yeah.
Yeah, I did the stand up too because I don't,
Or take a stand.
Mine was
Yeah.
a little bit different because the detective was starting to talk about a few things when you get into the interrogation room, but then all of a sudden he just goes gay bashing on on Marcella and Anna.
Oh my
and I'm
God.
like, what a dick.
I
So
didn't
yeah,
get that at all.
I took a stand. And I was like, no, that's stupid.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't believe you'd say something like that.
Well, I never lied to the police officer.
I didn't lie either. I told
didn't either.
I was like,
and it worked out really well. So
Yeah.
well, because basically everything that you're like, yes, I found this. He's like, oh yeah, we already know about that.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
and he was like, did you touch anything? Or what did you see? And I was like, a lot of blood. And he's like, well, did you touch anything? And I was like, well, yeah. And he's like, gosh, you guys just can't help but touch
yeah.
things.
Witnesses always touch things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I got out scot-free after getting interrogated. But yeah, I had to stand up for Marcella. and
Well,
Anna. That
I was
not
upset because I had two of those situations where you can take a stand or deny, but they were both kind of about ethics or morals, I guess. Because
Yeah.
the first one was I think the first one for me was Anna and Marcella being gay, and he
These
was
deviants.
these deviants, this is terrible, ruining our country, whatever.
grief.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
But then he's like, did you see them engaging in sexual acts?
Yeah.
But then I was upset, and this is where I was like, this is some LA noir shit, because my options were take a stand or deny. So I'm like, am I taking a stand that he is a bigot, or am I denying having seen them have any sexual relations? Because I didn't see any sexual relations.
Yeah.
So I was like, this seems like a weird, it's not, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I chose deny for that one. I chose deny for the next one too, which was did you see Paul do any violent acts? Because he again had a rant about people with mental health
They're
problems.
just nuts.
I didn't get to that
Crazy.
point.
Oh,
Because I took a stand on the
Interesting.
very first one when he was bashing Marcella and Anna. And then after we argued for a minute, he's like, all right, just get out of here. I don't want to see you again. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was it. So
Yeah, I just had the Paul thing because I didn't throw away the Paul stuff. And so I was really upset because I meant to and then I forgot. So I restarted my game at that save and I went back and I threw everything away. Everything incriminating to Paul, Marcella, Anna, everything.
so did you get Beef Wellington in trouble?
I got the same ending.
Bummer.
Oh.
So I think what the annoying thing that he brought up as the evidence for Paul and Marcella, or Paul being crazy, was the argument that was reported between Marcella, Paul, and Hector. So this
Which you
argument,
can't even have any control over.
no, and so I don't know if it's I need to not make a phone call downstairs to have anyone look into it at a certain point in the game, or maybe there was just one piece of paper I forgot to throw away, but I didn't go back and do it again after that. I was like, ah,
Sure.
fuck it.
Yeah.
Well, there may have been more evidence to find that you didn't quite, although I think that really hateful message in the safe, because I didn't go into the safe. I do remember that there were the safe codes, but at that point I was like, there's a dead body.
Yeah.
I'm done snooping through the rooms.
Yeah.
But there was a note. It's actually the one that you pull out of the typewriter, I think.
Mm-hmm.
In Marcella's room. That's I don't remember what it was about, but at the top there's a financial institution header.
Uh-huh.
And Sophie, the character, she says something like, I've seen this brand before. And I was thinking, oh yeah, from that first room where the guy had all these financial problems.
Yeah.
Since this is a financial institution, I'm sure it's with his. I forgot to go back and look at that stuff again to see if there's a connection to make. But I wonder if you go back and forth, if there's more evidence.
I didn't throw that away.
Uh-huh.
What I did forget to throw away, I think, were the correspondence letters in the typewriter between Marcella and Paul.
Okay.
And so that might have been something that I
That could have been
forgot.
it.
But again,
Yeah.
I think if I would have actually gotten everything thrown away, that maybe that wouldn't have triggered at all and the right person would have gone to jail.
The F and M that you're talking about, the symbol that you're talking
Oh,
about,
yeah.
is a production it's a producing company because if you look at the books that Marcella makes, that symbol's in the upper left-hand corner.
I thought it was a financial thing for some
I
reason.
did too, because they were talking about like identity theft.
Yeah, it's a production company for books.
Interesting.
Publisher.
Your
yeah,
publisher,
yeah.
yes, yeah.
Interesting.
So
Well,
Okay. Maybe not a connection there like I expected then.
Well,
Interesting.
maybe further on, but that's all I got with
Yeah.
that. So
But yeah, so yeah, I ended up going back. Andrew gets fired, but from what I read online, it's unavoidable because Andrew opens up to Bernard about his stay in the psychiatric hospital. And so Bernard is just like, well, I can't have you working here then.
Same thing with Beth.
Yeah.
She's gay.
Yeah, she's
Oh.
gay, and so he keeps talking about these deviant, lesbians or whatever, and she blows up on him, and so she loses her job.
Yeah, and so then, yeah, Andrew gets fired, but he ends up opening up his own bookstore. And then I keep working there. I didn't quit.
Me neither.
And
I didn't quit
then
either.
In the end, it gives you the option to like kiss Andrew, and it just didn't feel like the right time. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do that.
I'm happy that they gave me a third option at this point because I could kind of defer to still platonic. So I kept it very platonic. But Beth gets her own bar. That's what she wants to do. Yeah. She wants to still be in hospitality, but she wants to be behind a bar. So
Yeah, I did not kiss Beth. I thought, because there's like that little arrow symbol on that option, I thought that would end the conversation. I wanted to explore the tree more.
I did
yeah.
too, yeah.
So I didn't get the chance to kiss her, but it was fine.
Yeah. So that's kind of how mine ended. Marcella and Anna were able to like get away with Michael.
Oh, yeah. Marcella and Anna were both behind bars.
And
wall between
Michael
them.
was with CPS.
A taxi, and he's like holding a teddy bear all sad. Like, oh, it was rough. Not good.
God.
Hey, but on the bright side, as Employee of the Month, we got a new like mop.
Yeah, like a vacuum mop thing. Yeah, I
Oh
saw
my
that. I was like,
God.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
Bernard's
great.
like handing it to you. It's got a big bow on it.
You have a
and
big
everything.
smile on your face. Like, oh, good grief. Sweet.
Yeah. But there's other endings too where you can be in a romantic relationship with your acolyte, or I think there's an ending where Bernard actually gets fired and his brother takes back over
fun.
the hotel. You can go to jail if you leave behind too many like incriminating things. So there, if you look it up, there's a ton of different
Yeah,
endings.
I guess there's like
Interesting, yeah.
28 different scenes that you can unlock. At
Oh,
the
wow.
end.
Yeah, which I think I appreciate their attempt to make that more like exciting and wanting to go back and get different endings. But
Yeah.
for me, it was just like it would have been too much of a slog to go back and get any different endings. So yeah, not my favorite game, but I mean, it was fun. It wasn't a terrible time. Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty decent. Yeah, pretty decent one. So,
Yeah, I had a good time. My partner was really upset that I didn't take a stand about the gays.
oh.
And she wanted me to get rid of their evidence, I think, too. And she was like, let the gays have their love. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to stay out of this.
Yeah, that's how I was
I'm not
too.
against this. I'm not my responsibility.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just hold my own lane here. That's all.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, this concludes the discussion episode for This Bed We Made. Please join us next week for the rating episode of Inscription.
Whoa, Zeph's
Zephe.
choice.
Yeah, this is a listener request. So, Zephe, thank you very much. We will be covering Inscription next. And it'll be followed by its discussion episode the week after. Please go give the podcast a follow, rate it, review it, however you want to show us love. You can email us with any comments, questions, or constructive criticism at letmebegg@gmail.com. Yes, Rylan.
If you want to see our trailer reaction for Inscription, you can find that on YouTube.
Yes. You can also send in game requests. If there's something you'd like us to review, just like Zephe did, just make sure that you include game requests in the subject line so it's easy for us to find. You can find us on most socials as Let Me Be Your GG. That's LetMeBeyourGG with no spaces. And we're on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And yes, like Rylan just mentioned, you can find our trailer reaction for Inscription on our YouTube. And if you want to watch future trailer reactions, catch us on Twitch. We do that every other Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time right now.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyways, you can also find us on TikTok as Let Me Be Your Game Guide with no spaces. Our Patreon can be found at patreon.com/letmebeyourgg. Thank you so much for listening. We can't wait to see you next week. And thank you so much for letting me be your game guide. GG, y'all.
Bye. Gotta love a good smelling book. I can't smell right now, or else I'd take a hit off that. But
You'll get snot.
yeah, you don't want that, dude.
Oh, man.